it's not uncommon to have flocks standardize their points of view, but where it's troubling, to your point, is in academics because that's where so much shaping, the responsibility of academia and in having healthy tension points is in having different voices, right? Because that's what allows you to create your own and to see different points of view. So I guess I'm not surprised on one hand that there is so much insular kind of thinking, and on the other hand, it's crazy because I got to tell you, just last night in preparing to even talk to you, and I've got a kid in college, and I started to kind of look at some of the things that you were talking about going on at universities, and it kind of wow, it shocked me in a way. And there's always been, I think, at least in my life as a kid of the '70s and going through a lot of civil rights movements and so forth, that there's been this kind of at least in the last I don't know 100 years or so a slow evolution of rights-based movements where the younger generation is trying to create this tension point with the older generation. But when I started to take a look and start and learn about triggers and safe places and micro assaults and micro insults and micro inclusions and all of these different things, I thought, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Right.
what? It's almost like an entitlement bubble that people are sticking themselves in, and that's dangerous because it creates even more of a schism when all of those people get out into culture, and then there's all the people who never were part of that discourse, and it creates even more division.
And then it creates Trump because the people who are not at Stanford and Berkeley, who don't exist in the bizarro world of safe spaces and microaggressions and trigger warnings, who live in the real world, who are Darwinian beings, who recognize competition, who recognize strife, who recognize that your boss may have different opinions from you and your coworkers may have different opinions from you, then they
Right.
say, what is going on? We've had enough. Now, the government, to some extent, who it is inhabited, so to go back to your earlier point, is inhabited by people who came from Stanford and Berkeley. And therefore, they recreate that echo chamber on a grander scale. And the average common person says, I'm tired of it. I won't have it anymore. I don't want to be called a racist. I should be allowed to speak my mind without being truly marginalized, truly othered, right? I don't know if you saw my talk that I gave at the University of Ottawa on the thought police. I mean, what I tried to do in this talk was to sort of come up with as many examples of absolute lunacy that is happening at universities that
I
if
saw it.
okay, so if I were coming up with satire, right? If Saturday Night Live hired me to come up with as wild a set of examples that are not truly real, that didn't happen, you're engaging in hyperbole to demonstrate something, I couldn't come up with stuff that is as wild as this, right?